All right, folks, let's close it out. Part 3 of Claire's wonderful question today. We are talking about the mature athlete, but we're just going to shine the light on supporting habits. So it goes a little bit beyond the question here, but to close this session out, I think it's worth spending 5 minutes on supporting habits. What needs to evolve as you're a maturing athlete? Well, the first, and this isn't specific to a maturing athlete, but I think it's really important because I often see as we do start to get a little bit long in the tooth that we have a drop in a perception of our hunger signals, our thirst signals and components like that. And so with the assumption that you're still training, you're still ambitious, you're still chasing performance, it's really important that you emphasize eating enough calories of the right type of calories. I can't tell you how many mature athletes accidentally, unconsciously underconsume. Hunger signals drop, you don't have the same catalyst, it's harder to eat, and you end up getting into a chronic cycle of continuing to train hard, perhaps shifting, as we talked about in part 2, the emphasis of that training, but under-consuming calories that leave you with lower performance yields, a fog of fatigue, and ultimately not getting results. And you think, I'm slowing down, I'm just getting old. But the truth is that you may be just not eating enough calories. Now, if you need support here, of course, we've got our partnership with Fuel-In, a wonderful system that integrates with the training that you're going to do and provides you with recommendations, not just on the types of foods you should eat, but exactly the amount of calories so that you can go into your local grocery store, restaurant, whatever you're cooking at home out of the fridge, and make sure that you're providing enough of the right calories at the right time. Really important. If you want to find out more there, just head to fuelin.com/purplepatch. Let them know that you heard it on the show and they will take care of you. Of course, you can always reach out to us as well, info@purplepatchfitness.com. We'll be delighted to point you towards some other recommendations around supporting your training with enough calories and nutrition, complimentary, of course. Happy to do that with you if you want some more information on that very, very important topic. Okay? Second component that's really important under the banner of nutrition is protein. Really critical building block for you. Claire, we talked about going into perimenopause, building around consistent protein in every single meal throughout the day. Breakfast, potentially a snack, lunch, potentially a snack, and certainly dinner. Ensuring that you're getting 30, 40, 50 grams of protein for every one of your meals. It's such a critical building block for you. Spread it throughout the day. It should add up to, give or take, around your body weight in pounds, and ensuring that every time you bring out a dinner plate, breakfast plate, whatever it might be, your plate, the first thing on is your protein. Then you're going to wrap it around with a ton of fiber, lots of vegetables and fruits, and then in addition to that, plenty of carbohydrates to support your training load, especially post-workout. If you want to lower down the cortisol levels, post-workout carbohydrates are really, really important. Of course, also really important in days prior to or on heavier, high-load training days. That can come in the form of strength or endurance training. So some really important components and habits around nutrition. Okay, let me just highlight everything I said there. Eating enough calories at the right time. Building your meals around protein, ensuring that every meal has a ton of good fiber in it, in other words, vegetables and fruit, and then making sure that you're throttling your carbohydrate always present to ensure that you're supporting your caloric needs and ensuring that you're getting that post-workout fueling in. Really important, particularly for high-level athletes, amateur athletes, mature athletes, the topic of the day, and anyone else doing sport or caring about performance globally. All right, so that's kind of the nutrition bucket on the habits. Now let's talk about another component, recovery. So this is a critical component for maturing athletes because our rate of recovery, our body's ability to bounce back, is compromised as we mature. And this is systemically, so how long we actually come back to full hormonal health, you want to call it that, and also from a muscular standpoint. Tissue repair takes longer as we age. And so what that means for us is we need to be a little bit more strategic about integrating planned recovery into our training cycles. So what this looks like on a practical standpoint is if you're following a training program, you should really embrace, fall in love with going easy in the lighter training sessions. I referenced before the soul-filling training, going for a run with my dog, with my podcast or my audio book in my ear. Really good stuff, but go freaking easy. And for you, Claire, or anyone else listening that's a mature athlete, if the legs are just leaden, if the system is tired, maybe convert a run to a walk or a hike, or stop for a coffee when you're going for a little bike ride, whatever it might be. But have the courage on the easy sessions to make them soul-filling. It's so important for mature athletes because we have to have the courage to do a little bit less to get as much as we would have done 10 or 15 years ago. I would also, under the banner of recovery, really focus on building great sleep hygiene. Now, we discussed this in depth 2 weeks ago, and so I'm just going to send you back 2 weeks. In other words, if you want to learn more about how to optimize your sleep, just go back. I break down REM and its ability to process stress. I also discuss deep sleep, where all the growth and adaptations and repair occur. You want to protect those. You want to optimize them. And so it's all about habit development around sleep. Go back a couple of sessions ago. We'll leave the link in the show notes. If you didn't hear it, it's worth listening. It's also worth sharing with your friends. So that's good. And then finally, under recovery, is be more willing than ever to integrate a few days in a row of deeper rejuvenation. Very, very light training, even sometimes psychologically having a day off completely, where you enable ultimately a catalyst for better consistency of effective training. So when you're younger, the body bounces back a little bit quicker, and you can often get away with less time where you're just like, I just need to turn my back on this. As a mature athlete, you've got to have courage to actually integrate a little bit more. Really, really simple. Final component, I've got to talk about this on a day-to-day basis, hydration. Massively under-discussed, really important. It is a catalyst to creating a robust immune system. It improves your recovery and tissue health. So in other words, it's igniting your ability to recover quicker, and we've already just talked about that being a compromise factor of being a maturing athlete. And tissue health, it's really, really important. And it's also a key component in repair and adaptations. You go and do your strength training, the high intensity. If you want to get the biggest yield, and then you need to have well-lubricated muscles. It's a part of the recovery process. And so, of course, all of these habits, there's plenty of crossover here with all age of athletes, but I do think that it has an amplified importance for maturing athletes. And so, listeners, I hope that perspective helped. Claire, thank you so much for the question. I hope that gives you a little bit of a runway to get going. If you would like to reach out with any questions that you want, we're going to be doing more Q&A sessions over the coming weeks. We've also got some really fun Q&A sessions with Scott Tyndall from Fueling around both race fueling and hydration for triathlon and other endurance events, as well as building habits and practices to amplify a daily performance around nutrition and hydration. All of that to come in the coming weeks. But until then, hey, we might be getting a little bit more into the category of mature athletes, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't stay ambitious. Keep growing, keep putting up the challenges, because that's how we grow, folks. I'll see you next time. Take care.